Deanna beats an android at chess.
I wrote that down too. And it's when he's fully capable.
What are we doing? Captain's Pod, Stardate 428722.1. Welcome aboard the Starship's Enterprise, and thank you for joining us as we take a brief shore leave from the world of CinemaSins to enjoy the world of Star Trek. I'm your Captain Ian Whittington, and with me as always, she's a highly emotional offshoot of humans as we know them. It's Deneé Hughes.
Am I highly emotional?
I ran with the metaphor because it's linked to today's episode more than I went with the logic of it applying to you.
Okay. All right.
And as we come down from red alert and battle stations are rescinded as Ian just got himself out of some hot water, how are you this week?
Why would that be hot water? I was just asking, like, if you thought that I was emotional.
Yeah, no, that was a door I did not want to open. Hey, and why do you think I'm so emotional? Nope, not having that talk.
What? I'm open. Tell me.
Nope.
Do you think I'm emotional?
Nope, not doing it. Nope.
All right.
Oh,
well,
that's about a ship.
Sorry, podcast listeners. I tried to have a deep, meaningful conversation on the show before the show even starts.
Really? Do you want that? We can do that. Tell me about your feelings.
Well, you told me not to talk about them.
Well, now I'm in counselor mode and I feel like talking about them.
Oh, okay. Is that why you just changed clothes?
Computer, put on my counselor hat. It just materializes a little hat.
Isn't it blue? Isn't it the blue uniform? Deanna's, isn't hers blue?
It tends to be blue, yeah, because it's part of the medical profession or the sciences.
That's right.
Yeah.
So you went from a captain to a counselor. Does that mean that I'm now the captain? Welcome to Captain's Pod, a podcast where I take over and have deep, meaningful conversations with Ian, my counselor.
Oh, I can't wait for this. Let's do it. What's the episode this week?
Oh, hold on one moment.
Rapidly Googling.
Conundrum.
Oh, that's a good one. That is the Next Generation. I think that's season...
Don't look it up.
Conundrum.
Don't look it up.
So this is where the crew of the Enterprise
what's
get
the season?
Brainwashed.
What's the season?
Season 5?
Yes. What episode?
Episode... I'm not good at this.
It's okay. It's okay.
It's like
this is why we're talking about our feelings right now.
Miles away.
Well, I mean, 8 additional to 6.
Okay, episode 14. Good.
That's right. Yeah. Wonderful.
14. Nice.
Yeah.
Well,
okay, who directed it?
Oh, no, can't remember. Brandon Braga.
Okay, no. And then who's the story by?
Don't know.
Okay, all right.
No, Renee Echeverria.
No, it's Paul Schiffer?
Paul Schiffer. Oh, yeah, he's good. He does loads of them. Yeah. Conundrum's a great episode. But
so that's weird because my Google search was Star Trek TNG episodes that tanked.
Oh, I love that episode.
And this is the one that came up, and I wonder why that was
that's so interesting.
The first result. Well, you know how Google, is. Maybe you just...
That's so strange.
I don't know how it's... Yeah.
Interesting. Well, that is not the... I mean, we can do that episode if you want. It's a pretty fun one, but I do have another plan.
Oh, I thought that I was captain now.
Okay, cool. So, I guess continue.
So, in today's episode, we're going to watch some stuff, and you're going to watch it along with us. Or not, because some of you crazy people don't ever watch Star Trek. You just listen to Ian and I talk about Star Trek.
Which is still my favourite thing. I want to know how many of you still have not watched an episode of Star Trek and are still listening.
We could do a poll.
We'll do a poll.
We could easily do a poll.
Yeah. But if you're not on Twitter, then email us.
Yeah. Well, we could put one up in the link and you could click on the description.
Yeah.
You want to?
Yeah, we'll do it. We'll put it in the link to the description of this episode.
Yeah.
Amazing.
Which is super part of the plan going into this episode. We're definitely not just making this up on the fly at all.
Totally not.
No, I want to know what your plan is, of course.
Okay, but I'm going to let you choose. Whether we go with my idea for the episode I had planned this week or Conundrum. But what I thought would be cool this week is if we did Balance of Terror, which is the actual episode that the season finale of Strange New Worlds was based on. So this is going all the way back to Kirk and actually watching the original incidents as they were supposed to happen. So, are you in a TNG mood or an original series mood?
Oh, that's just silly.
Oh, it's always going to be TNG.
You know the answer to that. It's always TNG.
Yeah.
But
okay.
I understand that I need to branch out and think of new things. My question is, did your episode win an Emmy Award for Outstanding Individual Achievement in Special Visual Effects? Because my episode did.
Right, hang on a minute. Reception awards. It's the favourite episode of Brian Fuller. Shit. I can't see any awards.
What a strange thing for Google to return this particular episode, which is referenced as 15 episodes that will give you hope for the future, top 100 Star Trek episodes of all time, all 28 classic Star Trek episodes that have won Emmys from The Next Generation to Discovery.
What, you mean Balance of Terror or Conundrum?
Conundrum. Best made a list for, episodes to rewatch, 15 best TNG episodes of all time. So it's being referenced on IMDb from all of these different sources that have listed this episode as this epic episode. So why would Google, when I searched for episode that tanked?
And then how does an episode even tank? Because it's not like there's a box office return on it. It's all based on reviews and viewership. Maybe
it misunderstood me and this episode has a tank in it.
It does not.
Oh, okay.
Well, this is why you listen to Captain's Pod. This is the chaos of the show. So anyone that, luckily I haven't teased this anywhere yet, but we are not going to do Balance of Terror. We are going to do Conundrum. We're going to do a TNG episode. And do you know why? Because I know Deneé is feeling a little bit poorly today, and I think she needs some TNG comfort. And Riker gets extra horny in this episode.
Oh.
And there we go. So, without going into it, Conundrum, what do you think happens in this episode?
Well, obviously, there's a conundrum of some kind. And with him being so horny, did he forget his protection that day?
No, but that is a plot point that comes up in Deep Space Nine later on. It's the 2400s, and we still have a pregnancy that occurs because a man forgot to use protection.
Wow.
And it's like, wow, we will always be stupid.
Conundrum. Okay, I didn't actually read the synopsis, so I have no idea.
So don't read. Okay, good. You didn't read it.
Yeah, no, I didn't. I didn't read the synopsis. I was on the IMDb. Did you hear me?
IDD.
I am so poorly, and that's one of the words I love that you've taught me. Poorly.
Yeah, poorly sick.
I would say I'm unwell, or in true American fashion, I feel like shit. And you have like the cool.
I remember when I think it was your mum, possibly, and I said that one of my previous jobs had treated me poorly, and she was like, "What, treated you as if you were poor?" And I was like, "Oh, no, that's just something that hasn't translated." I was like, "No, poorly as in they didn't treat me well," and that's just like a word I never imagined wouldn't translate.
I've never heard it.
It's so
when
funny.
you say, "Yeah, I'm feeling poorly today," and I'm always like, "Hee, that's so cute." So now I'm feeling poorly, and I feel like better about my poorly state because I get to say the word poorly more.
That is the best gift I could give you, better than any medicine.
Yeah, for real.
Nope.
No, thanks for going on the fly. We hope you enjoy this random conundrum. I kind of wish I knew a little bit about it, but horny Riker is fine with me. That's all I need.
Do you want to know anything, or just go straight into it?
I don't know. Let's go straight into it.
Okay. Well, this is season 5, episode 14 of Star Trek: The Next Generation. Computer, 2 to beam to sickbay and replicate a big TV screen monitor so we can watch it from a sickbay sickbed. Before we get to 10 forward, and because of the wonkiness of how we've managed to record this over the space of basically a week, we had the sad news on Sunday of Nichelle Nichols passing away, who obviously played Uhura.
The legendary Uhura. The legendary Nichelle Nichols.
Super duper legendary. She was 89, passed away peacefully in her sleep.
Oh, that's the way to go.
It really is. It is. And like Twitter just exploded, rightfully so, with just messages. And that's when I go, like, I would want, if I was ever in a position like that, to see all of those messages. And
like from the afterlife?
Yeah, she got a message from the president. All of these people that she never would have met just pouring out love of how much she's affected them, and like the role she played as Uhura is nothing compared to the stuff that she did outside of that as well. Like she would go to NASA and like give talks. She did recruitment for NASA to get women and people of color into NASA and to motivate them to join STEM and the sciences and stuff.
That
she
makes
was
sense.
such a campaigner for people who thought they don't have a chance to actually go and do some amazing things. Yeah,
and I love. So I'm looking at pictures of her right now as we're talking about her, and seeing like some of the photos of her with like her beautiful hair. She aged so beautifully.
Yeah.
And I'm seeing her waving in the pictures, and then I realize she's not actually waving. She's doing the live long and prosper.
Almost every single picture you see of her, if she has a hand raised, it will be doing the live long and prosper sign.
That's amazing.
She was all about Star Trek. She was absolutely committed to it. She's just incredible.
What a legend.
Yeah, absolutely. So, yeah, another Star Trek legend leaves us, sadly.
I think one of the cool things that I'm learning about while doing this show with you, and I pause because it's one of the many cool things, but I get to learn stuff like what she did with NASA and how she took her notoriety and then tried to expand opportunities to other people.
Yeah.
And you don't often hear about that kind of stuff, but there are so many actors who do so much like philanthropic work, and you hear about it at their passing and not necessarily like while their life is active. So
yeah, of course
I'm going to learn all this cool stuff about her now that everyone's talking about it.
Yeah, in the 70s and 80s, she did so much work. Yeah, she's amazing. So great at conventions as well.
And there's no real way to transition properly into the show. We just wanted to send our love.
Welcome to 10 Forward, the part of the show where we grab a drink from the replicator and share our immediate thoughts, if we can remember them, and feelings on the episode we just watched together. Most important question first. What would you like to drink?
Double shot.
Oh, I see what you did there. I would like a Sumerian sunset made in the traditional fashion.
Yeah, just tap that. Ping!
Swirly. Love it.
Swirly. Yeah, we really can't do a lot of visual work on the podcast. You'll have to just imagine that the transparent drink suddenly turned into a beautiful sunset color.
Although when you get to the outtakes, you'll see us do all kinds of visual things, so we just ignore that for most of the time.
You have time. You have time to prepare for that, though.
Okay, so this is season 5, episode 14, in theory. After
Deneé.
Again, something that will make sense in the outtakes. Deneé started watching the wrong episode. There will be a full explanation of that after the show. After encountering an alien ship, the crew of the Enterprise have their identities wiped by a strange energy field. They must work out who they are and whether their apparent mission to destroy an alien foe is all it appears to be. Deneé, what did you think? How many pips on the neck do you give this episode out of 4? An artificial, arbitrary ranking system I've just invented.
I think this might be one I didn't enjoy as much as I wanted to.
Okay, fair enough. We did build it up quite a bit.
Yeah, I think I understand why people find it interesting, and there are certainly things to enjoy about every episode of Star Trek.
Yeah.
This one it's so fast paced in that when the mystery begins, there's no. They're just clipping along, solving some problems and then other problems they can't solve. And you just have to buy it and not ask a lot of questions.
There is so much in this episode. Okay.
Yeah. I think the big things of this episode are, Riker and Deanna and what's the other one's name?
Laren.
Ro?
Yeah. Ensign Ro.
So obviously, I think there's interest, in the audience to see that tension. Worf being captain was badass, and that's my favorite part. That's my favorite part of this.
As soon as he was in the captain's chair, I was like, yeah, Deneé's loving this.
Oh my God, I was having the best time. and honestly, my biggest sin, I'll just skip ahead, is that he didn't stay in that chair longer.
I have a similar sin based on that. But yeah, we'll get to it.
And then, the conundrum of not knowing your actual purpose and trying to re-engage with your actual purpose, and the confusion that can happen with selective memory.
Yeah.
And that is interesting to think about, the Enterprise turning into a warship, which it clearly has the capabilities of doing some massive destruction and could be definitely, I mean, it is a warship in certain hands. And so I like that. It was also interesting too, I guess I should say, to see the beginning of this one, to see our crew serving as different parts of the crew. Like the captain sitting in a different chair.
It's so weird to see him like at the con or at a science station, and he would just like swing around and be like, well, I think we should do this.
Yeah. Or Data, serving drinks.
Yes.
That was delightful and fun. And I kind of wanted the whimsy of that to last even longer, to be honest.
Agreed. Yeah.
But overall, a great episode. A little lower than I thought it would be, but I definitely enjoyed it. What about you? Is this one that stands for you? Like, where does this rank in yours?
Yeah, this is one of if me and my dad are trying to pick an episode to watch, this is in the rotation. And I say that in my head, there's a rotation of 10 episodes, but that list I think is 100. Like, it's way, way bigger than I think it is. But yeah,
is it like the thing where people want to go to a restaurant and they have like their top like 10 restaurants and then they just can't decide? Do you two just kind of go back and forth like Conundrum? No, this one, no, that one.
I tend to be the one that picks because my dad is just okay with all of them. My mood can be like a bit changeable. But yeah, we'll basically he's like his where he lands is like, I like all of them. Put one on and I'll enjoy it. Like, he is just, it's comfort food for him. It's so great. Yeah, I really, really like this episode. I love the mystery of nobody knowing who they are. I love Macduff appearing out of nowhere. And I remember...
What a name! Macduff.
I remember the first time I watched this. Like, it was like the very, very first time. So we're talking like I'm 10, 11, 12 years old or something. And I'm just like, oh, I guess this is just one of those extras that appears in this episode. And I just completely missed them. And so I missed out on that part of the mystery because I was like, he's just part of the crew. That's fine.
I did
he's
too.
Just there.
Completely missed it. I was like, who is this guy?
I guess he's just here this episode. You'll have like the random engineer that turns up every now and again.
Yeah. Uh-huh.
But the reason this episode becomes one of the better ones for me is two reasons. The mystery, if there's an episode with a mystery, I will love the heck out of it. Like Clues. We watched that a few months ago, and that's where Data is the only one who has his memory, and the rest of the crew has had the memory wiped. And he has to convince them that the planet they saw was just a random planet, and he has to manipulate a load of stuff, and they follow the breadcrumb of clues and expose him, and the aliens say, we're going to kill you, and they have to redo it again. Do you remember that?
Yeah, I remember that.
Yeah.
That's great.
I like that kind of episode. I absolutely love. And the other part of it is that this episode has an awesome, incredible moral dilemma at the heart of it as well.
Yeah, it
Picard,
does.
Like, sums it up. I've walked into a room, I've been handed a weapon and asked to shoot a man I don't know. And that's the sum of it. Like, when all the information is telling you, it's telling you to do this one thing, and it is completely unfair and it's completely like mismatched. How brave are you, especially in a military like establishment? How brave are you to go against your orders and say, I'm not doing this, it's not right? Like, I think there's a 99% chance he blows them up. There is like a 1% chance in reality that it goes down the way that it goes down.
Yeah, because the way that the show sets it up is that there's not a way for them to confirm their actual orders. It's all, there's not a way for them to really understand and assess the fabrication of what has been implanted into their scenario, which is memory wiped, but like this Macduff has...
You can call him Kieran if you like.
No,
alien picked the most
makes sense.
Generic name in the world. Kieran Macduff.
He, or it wearing a people skin.
Yes.
has created this scenario that they can't confirm. And I think that's the biggest downer of this one for me. And it's not necessarily a sin, but it was just how, when we get to the part where the mystery is revealed, it's just scooted over so quickly. I'm like, wait,
it's a sin.
What happened? How is this happening? How does this work? And I'm left with a lot of questions. But I think that in certain storytelling moments, you have to allow for that to occur so that you can actually like feel the tension of the story that they want. We need to feel the tension of that decision. And yeah, we did. I was so shocked every time that the Enterprise was shooting on things. I was like, no.
Don't kill people. What are you doing? You're going to regret this.
And I missed the part where when they fired on all those pods, I missed that they weren't manned. And I was like, oh my God.
You just like, pew, 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 pew. I'm like, Deneé, don't worry. They're unmanned. They're just probes.
Okay.
It's fine. It's okay.
I was genuinely freaked out. I was like, what am I watching? I don't remember this.
The fact that they kill a ship full of people, that is really dark. You can't undo that. Like,
no.
I mean, the only reason it isn't a bigger deal is that what are they going to do about it? Like,
well, and the other part is like, how often does this happen? How often does this, this race, this, like, what are they called? The Starins or whatever?
The Lysians
Starins,
or whatever.
I don't remember. But so we'll say that the good aliens and the bad aliens. So how often did the bad aliens just kidnap ships and do this? They're like, yeah, this happens every, 5 years. And that's a big part of my questions. That's where I get really, really hung up is how does this work? How were they able to lose their memory? How does this happen? And how quickly they just kind of like
get stuck. I thought you'd be like,
really
okay, it's fine. It's fine. It's okay.
I got kind of upset with that because it's just so this bad guy alien race has this ability to mind wipe thousands of people on a warship just by running across them.
It's my biggest ReSINstance, for sure, without a doubt.
And then take over, I guess, get onto the ship somehow? Or did he... Okay, clear this up for me. McDuff.
Yes.
Was a member and possessed or just appeared because he is the alien the whole time?
No, he's the alien the whole time.
Okay, but he's in a people skin.
He's in a people skin somehow. Like, so the technology that this alien race has is incredible. It is, and Riker at the end saying, I mean, we're just going to jump into ReSINstance apparently, but Riker at the end saying, oh yeah, no, their weapon technology apparently is so far behind everything else. And it's like,
it's not
that's
true.
Some bullshit. That is some bullshit.
It's not true. They hacked an entire ship, and that's my big question is like, as fun as this was for me, I'm so confused as to how this race had one life form on board its teeny tiny little ship and it wiped everybody out. And I just want to know more about this. To me, they're going to be going back to a starbase to like reset and get their memories back and everything. But like, we have a new enemy. We have a new race to be very concerned about. Like,
yes, yeah. There's nothing to stop them doing this again.
Starfleet should be finding out as much as they possibly can about this. They should be working with the Elysian race to not only like reconcile hurting people instead of like a little apology letter from Captain Picard, but they need to be like, what can we do to fucking help you because you're defenseless. Yeah. And what would stop this so if they're defenseless, God, I am in ReSINstance. If I'm just trying to figure this out. if the good guy aliens don't have any defenses, then why can't the bad guy aliens just go wipe them?
No, their weapons are just as bad. So that's what Picard says at the end, is that their weapons technology is just as bad, but somehow they've developed this very advanced form of memory wiping, system wiping control stuff. So they need to... It boils down to, it is apparently easier to kidnap the Enterprise than it is to develop a better torpedo, which is bullshit. Because torpedoes are based on warp drive. So they're based on antimatter. So if their ships can travel at the speed of light, which they can, they already have the technology for torpedoes. It's baffling.
The things that you know about this world.
Sorry.
No, you shouldn't apologize. This is your show. Like, this is the point. I don't know. So let me get this right.
Okay, let's do it. Let's clarify.
The bad guy alien is just out there sort of like jellyfish, like floating around and then hopes to come across.
No, it's in the ship.
I know, but like he didn't know he was going to run into Starfleet.
Well, I think he aimed for the Enterprise.
Well, it said that they were going to go investigate intelligent life somewhere.
Yeah.
So they didn't. It's not like they sought them out.
Are we just going to go into ReSINstance, or do you want to talk about anything good?
I'm confused. Before I even know what's good, I kind of have to get my bearings here. And this was a really confusing episode.
No,
let me just
fair.
Let me just get this straight. The very beginning of the show, it's like Stardate, blah blah.
Yeah.
We're going to go investigate intelligent life. Isn't that the first thing that they say?
Yeah, they're doing some survey somewhere.
Okay, so that means there's no way the bad guy alien knows for sure that Starfleet's coming, because Starfleet's the one that sees them on a sensor and goes to check them out. So they're just out there sort of floating around, hoping that something comes along that they can like memory wipe and take over a ship.
I didn't assume that this alien was the alien that they were investigating. I assumed that this ship was a surprise, and it was just, oh, hey, that ship looks really powerful. I'm going to try my super memory wiping ray on them. Because you wouldn't hang around.
It was just one life form. It was one life form.
Yeah, because I think the ray blows up the ship. It's so powerful that it's single use and it wipes out the ship. So he has to beam over.
So he beams over, destroys his own ship, but it's one guy. It's just what it's Mick fucking Duff.
Yes.
Mick Duff blows his ship up, gets onto the ship, but he didn't know that the Enterprise was coming. This is what I'm saying. It's like he's just out there going, okay, let's see what comes by today.
But he'll find a ship eventually.
Eventually.
Yeah. Who knows how long he's been looking?
And that's why this race is fucking dumb, I guess, because they don't have a way of like...
Yeah, there are easier ways to do this. 100%. This is such a complicated plan that nearly works.
Yeah. Yeah. But all of that aside, what it does allow for is some fun, including Riker getting his getting his socks off. And Ro. He and Ro, who obviously have some sort of sexual tension that needs to get worked out.
Not really. I mean, not until this episode they didn't.
They did.
Ro only joins in this season, I think, and she's in it. Michelle Forbes is in it for the rest of season 6 and 7 every now and again. And she's a disgraced officer that has been demoted back down to ensign and forced back onto the Enterprise. Or not back, but forced onto the Enterprise to kind of redeem herself. So that's why Riker and Ro are having that argument at the beginning where she's a bit disobedient.
But then secretly, her internal secret desire...
Yes, because it all comes down to sex.
Well, I mean, you're on a ship for a long time.
Yeah.
You're attracted to intelligent men. You can't help yourself.
That's fair.
Quote unquote, you can't help yourself. I found that to be really, really fun. She was so forward, and I was like, get it. I mean,
get it, girl.
Holy shit, get it.
She setting her sights high.
Yeah.
It is super skeezy of Riker to just play around.
Why is it skeezy?
He knows he's got a thing with Deanna.
No, he doesn't. That's the point of this episode, right? The point of this episode is that he followed his instincts with Ro, but he resisted with Deanna. And I think that's one of the reasons she was a little slighted at the end. Yeah,
I guess so. Maybe it's I don't know. I just think if you are in the military, you should probably, even when you've lost all of your memory, just keep the pistols holstered. Just
right, but this episode was really choosy about what they do and do not remember about protocol.
That's very true. But it is really fun. Regardless, it leads to that final scene where Riker, oh man, never has a man walked into 10 forward more slowly, and just the way he sinks into the chair, and just oh, hi ladies, how are you doing? And it's like,
this is a bad time to ask the both of you to come back with me.
Right? That's the missed opportunity right there.
I just get the impression that Riker, because Ro was so forward, it happened, but because Deanna is so careful, it didn't happen. If Deanna had walked in there and wanted to take Riker too, he would have been like, sure.
Data would have got some action. Riker's not saying no to anybody.
Riker is fully enjoying what happens whenever you're memory drunk is just just fine.
I wouldn't be surprised if Riker tries to set this up again and just deliberately tries to get everybody to lose their memory. Just I'm going to play around. It's fine. This is the best week ever.
It is interesting to have a show that does the storytelling thing where they are teasing two people getting together throughout the entire show. And certainly it's Riker and Troy. It's those two. And I remember watching, and every time they were on screen going, I wonder if this is going to be one of the times when they're going to show their affection. And this had a couple of those moments for me, which is one of the things I really loved because I really enjoy their relationship. Riker being one of my big first crushes on TV. I have a strange list of crushes, but he's on that list. And just the way that she plays with his hair and how simple and respectful it is. But you know what? He also has a very beautiful woman just aggressively going for what she wants, and
Yes.
that is part of that character, and I didn't mind that at all. I didn't mind it at all.
Good.
I did mind a little bit like the man shaming thing at the end where it was somehow his fault. That kind of bugged me a bit, but what I do is I like to do, which shouldn't really be called gender swapping, but I try to like put the other genders situations like how we usually see gender portrayed in TV, like to flip it around on the quote unquote yin yang opposite side and kind of go, would this work if it was a female, and why are the expectations different? And in that moment, it was like, I don't know why we're getting onto Riker here. He had a woman very aggressively enter his quarters. He didn't initiate it. He didn't stop it, but again, they're exploring the confusion of their world, and that's, I don't know, it seemed like it was a little bit like a simple, like, we're going to blame the guy for the sex stuff. And
totally. It is that stereotype. I am glad it wasn't flipped. I'm glad it wasn't Riker initiating everything, because we talk about gender swapping. That does then become a bit weird, doesn't it, with the person in command taking advantage. So it can either come off as very playful or really super fucking character breakingly creepy.
Yep. And I don't know. I think that they handled it pretty well, but the shaming at the end was a little bit of a bummer for me. It was also interesting to see Data like contemplate sort of his purpose too, like that.
That's my other favorite thing.
And Worf contemplating like him not being in leadership. That was a bit heartbreaking as well. But
it really was, like his apology to Picard, and then but Picard is just like, don't worry about it. You're fine. It's okay.
Yeah,
I was like,
it's not a big deal.
At every point, the show proves why Picard is a natural born leader.
Yeah, he's great.
He's always trying to like politely, diplomatically put his point across, respecting other people's opinions. And then when it all goes wrong, it's like, this isn't important right now. We need to now be a team and move on from this. Yeah, I love that. And yeah, Data contemplating his existence is what a great little scene that could have been forgotten or not done at all, but just the different permutations of, am I alone? Am I part of a species? Am I one per ship? Am I something in between? Like just
who am I?
To go from, am I unique or am I a duplicate? And which would I prefer to be? Like,
and how he
so
says
great.
that he had, how did he word it? Something like, he had dedicated a great deal of resources to contemplating like his, like just how he says, I've been thinking about this a lot.
Yes, it's great. So great. Yeah, I love it so much.
Overall, a really, really fun episode that puts the characters in a new situation in a unique way that lets you watch this crew tackle a problem from a totally new perspective. And like, as usual, hats off to the writers for doing that well.
Yeah, I think it's balanced. I think it's balanced really, really well. There's a good deal of whimsy with a great, serious moral question. If anything, perhaps the killing of an entire ship is played off a little bit too consequence-free, perhaps. But again, what are they going to do about it? We did get a message on Twitter from good CinemaSins friend Slab, who said that this was the first episode that he ever watched. And it was so confusing to him because he didn't realise Macduff wasn't part of the crew, like I didn't.
Damn it, Macduff.
And just what an interesting way to be introduced to Star Trek.
Oh, wow. Yeah, because you don't really know what anyone is anyway, and so you're figuring out who the crew is while they're figuring out who the crew is.
Oh, so Worf isn't captain?
And it clips so quickly. Like
it does.
Again, this episode I could watch on 0.75 speed, make notes, and still be confused about how they got to any of the conclusions that they got to or why any of it works, because
we're going to dive into it a bit more.
This has a lot, but that's really interesting to put as your first episode. I wouldn't do that. I wouldn't recommend this as your first episode.
No, absolutely not.
But congratulations on watching your first episode. So
but this is when he was much, much younger. So not as in recently. This was when it was back on telly. I assume. Correct me if I'm wrong, Slab.
I thought he just did it like this week. Because we did have some people that saw that we were going to do Conundrum and decided to watch it with us.
Which is
so
amazing.
That was fun. Yeah.
I mean, my teaser was really, really bad. Somebody asked, like, what was the episode going to be this week? And I was just like, you pose a conundrum, do you? I was like, there are clues. And then they were just giving you the title.
That's easy. Yeah,
it's amazing. Easy. Okay, with that, it's time to... I mean, we were barely in 10 forward, but we're now going to engineering for ReSInstance's Futile. Battle stations, everyone. I'm going to blow up some Lycians.
Warning. Warp core collapse in 10 seconds.
This is the part of the show where we re-engage our sin brains. I'm not sure they were ever turned off for this one. Remind ourselves that no TV show is without sin, even the dirty Lycians, and we need to blow them up.
Oh my God.
Come
we need
on.
to blow up the Lycians.
Let's do
No.
So other than the big plot stuff, which we've covered a little bit, my biggest individual sin for this episode is that Deanna beats an android at chess.
I wrote that down too. And it's when he's fully capable. He could run every scenario.
Insane.
There is no instinct
There
with
is no
chess.
beating him. There is no instinct. Chess is more than just gambits and ploys. It's about instinct. No, it fucking isn't. Tarot cards are about instinct. This is chess. There is an amount of moves you can make, and Data has already worked out all of them before you sat down to play. There is no permutation where Deanna wins at chess.
I tell you
Ever.
what, I was so confused by this. I got pretty distracted about it.
Yes.
And I had to go into the thing where they were wanting whatever is happening between Deanna and Data to have some sort of resonance through the rest of this episode.
100%. That's exactly it. Yes,
but
correct.
there has to have been a better way.
There has to be.
And
It's a great allegory, but yeah, it is.
And I'm not doubting that that there could be a good chess game, but Data would win every chess game, number one. And number two, the other thing I would say about that scene is that he says, "You're going to have me in 7 moves," as if she's already won, when you know that he has to have another way of going at it. Like, unless she actually, there was nothing he could do to get out of it in 7 moves, but 7 moves still gives you a chance to try to rerun your calculations.
In chess, there is a point of no return. There is, you could, it will be 7 turns, or you could extend it to 25. There is a point where you can't come back from that when you play proper gambits, but
when you play proper gambits, that's
but
right.
Deanna is playing by instinct and has no
That's
rooks.
just not how it works.
I am. It is one of the most baffling scenes in all of Star Trek ever. That Deanna likes chess, which we didn't know, but it's fine. She can play. Beating a fucking android, I do not get it. Maybe if Picard is playing with Riker, or I don't know. I don't know, but there was a better way to do it.
It was, yeah, that was interesting. It was insane to me as well. It really truly was. So I'm glad we both had that one.
Oh, 100%. So let's get into the plot. The biggest problem here is that the aliens that have crap weapons can very, very, very specifically brainwash the entire crew at once with one wave in such a specific way. Like, just the memory of who they are, not their skills, not anything like that. That's absolutely insane. And they can get into the Enterprise's computer, delete exactly what they need, block off what they want, and they can shapeshift into a human form that Beverly scans him and he registers as human. Like, they are insanely powerful. Like, this is Federation breaking stuff, and they don't have torpedoes. It really should be.
And they don't have torpedoes. When in reality, their minds are like torpedoes. I mean, they can do something that I've never seen them with mind powers.
It's insane.
Yeah, that was very, very confusing. Something that I look forward to being explained at a different time, but it is what it is.
That's my explanation. That's it. There's no explanation for that. Like, they should be putting more effort into torpedoes and phasers than. I mean, this is great, but if it still doesn't win you the war, it's pretty useless.
I genuinely and truly feel like the best way for this show to have ended would have been like to come back on another episode and explore more of the alien, like to end this episode with we're still looking into more about this alien race, and then bring it back in somehow, because like this would be one that if they're gonna do a show in the future and reference TNG, like Strange New Worlds is referencing the original series, they better come back to this race and they better really explore it, because it's so OP.
It's super OP. Imagine, maybe they're the big bad in season 3 of Picard. Maybe it's these guys. The Sutterans, that's what they're called.
The Sutterans.
Just insane.
There was just not a lot. And this episode, like, I've already mentioned it, had a lot of like techno babble to just explain things away and stuff, which is going to happen in every episode pretty much. But the sweeping over the mystery, experiencing the mystery is one thing. Part of the joy of the mystery being solved is it making a little bit of sense. And they just like super fly by it. Like it is 5 sentences and we're out. So
they managed to get into the computer. It's OP.
Because Picard let them scan them, by the way. It was,
yes,
which is another sin. Like, you know what? We're just going to let them scan us today.
No
and then
shields.
they're like,
it's okay.
Like, well, our optical data network has increased by 1,500%. That's a lot. You fucked up.
That feels invasive.
That's a lot.
It really does.
That's a lot.
Yeah. All of the mistakes are made. Now, the biggest mistake for me that the Sutterans make is, if you haven't thought of this, it's going to blow your mind. Why not make Macduff captain?
Why not? Why not? I was wondering, like, one of my predictions as I was watching it is that it was an alien race that wanted to test the moral compass of Starfleet.
That would make so much more sense. This episode is rescued if that's the case. Yeah.
But it wasn't that.
Nope.
And you're absolutely right. Why not make Macduff the cat? Well, I guess it's because maybe they have enough experience at this point, knowing that once the crew has enough time in that ship to uncover some information about the logs of who they are. And again, it's this. If we send this episode, it would be riddled with, well, that's convenient. Ding. Well, that's convenient. Ding. We would have like 70 of them because the medical stuff is gone, but not the logs of who they are, which
the manifest,
would really help Macduff captain the ship. You're absolutely right.
Wipe that and just manufacture the Macduff is the captain. Just that's easy as that. And I mean, I've just realised this now. If he can get onto the ship and do all of these shenanigans, just steal 100 torpedoes. You don't even need the ship. Just steal the weapons.
Here's another thing. Like, how did he have a uniform? So have they done this enough that they've been able to do research to figure out what he's even supposed to dress like?
I would guess that he replicated a uniform because they were knocked out. They were no, they weren't.
They were
out.
Just scanned. They
Energy
were all just
wave, and then he turns up. Man, this happens so fucking quick.
It's so fast.
It's insane.
Yeah.
It's wild. Well done, writers. You made a great episode, but it is one of those episodes where, like, we're really not going to worry about explaining.
No. And they have to make these decisions at lightning speed, and they're able to kind of go. So when they send the away, no, they're not called the away team. They're called the. Hold on, I wrote it down because it's actually a sin. So the survey team. So when the survey team goes down, which is Riker, Ro, and LaForge, when they all go to do their like investigation and figure out that they can get all the comm stuff back and they can get all back on board. I mean, they're just clipping through all the things they can figure out. And then it's just like a big like question mark as to why they know how to do any of that in the first place, or why they couldn't use these brilliant minds to glance around and see that some people have 4 pips and some have 2, and like it's just we're just like it is.
But he's got the big baldrick.
He does. He has a big fucking baldrick and a gorgeous head. His dome is just beautiful. Like, trust that man.
Do it.
But it was so cool to see him as a captain. Oh, I want to see him as a captain in Picard. Like when we watch Picard, I hope he has his own ship or something. Good God.
I really hope so. I don't know. They've hinted at what his path is on Twitter, and
oh my God, if they've made him into some sort of like meditative monk, I'm gonna be so.
I think we're 50-50 that he's a meditative monk.
He's just like worked on his anger his whole life.
He's now super zen in Vulcan.
Oh God!
No, to see him like in the chair, and he's like, "We now have full tactical control."
You're like, "Oh shit!"
So good. He's gonna fuck some shit up.
Oh, and I love the part. I didn't mention this in the love the part. I'm sorry.
Okay, well, you're just going to mess with the format of the show as usual.
I'm so sorry.
It's fine. Do it.
But the part where he they're like, well, what are we going to do? And he just like, hey, choose a leader
yes.
and report. I was like, that's a great idea. But then it cuts over. It's like, well, that wasn't helpful. I'm like, fuck you. It was helpful. That's a great plan. Like,
of course.
How the show kind of makes us want to believe he maybe wouldn't be a good leader, but that was a super good thing to do.
Yes.
He was really good in that position anyway.
And he needed to make that quickly. Like there's different leadership styles, and he just has a much more aggressive style.
And how quickly he was like, well, I've got a baldric. Like, clearly I'm a leader.
I am decorated. It's amazing. It's so great. But that leads me on to my next sin, which is I'm kind of sad that we didn't get like a feral Klingon Worf, that when he realizes that he's just a security chief, fucks everyone up, just starts ripping spines open. And it's like, no, I am the leader. I am a Klingon. And
like
just
he
starts fucking people up. Yeah, exactly.
It's really interesting. I know. I was too, because there was this moment when it first starts where you're like, okay, well, what was the sweep? Like, what was that? I don't exactly know what that sweep meant. We saw Data repeat the same line, but
and
we
Geordie's
didn't have
like,
a clue.
what the hell is going on?
So it could have been a reversion back to instinct, which would have been very interesting.
Everybody kind of goes back to normal and has their normal personalities very, very quickly. Which I don't know. I kind of would have liked to see the rabid Worf
I
that
would have
wants
too.
to captain the Enterprise.
Something that I'm sure has an explanation, and you'll probably just explain to me right now, is speaking of the survey team. How when Worf says bridge to survey team, and then it pings over to Riker, Ro, and that are in 10 forward.
Yes. Like, yeah.
How did they know? Like, did they appoint like a computer, the survey team, or these people? Like, we don't ever see that part. It's just
we don't. And if
the
it's
conversation's just who it needs to be.
And if it's just them two, they're the only survey team apparently, surveying all of the decks and 1,000 people. That shit's gonna take days.
Thousands of people.
That
it
is
happens
like
fast.
Oh yeah, that is a classic nitpick of Star Trek. Do they need to tap the comm badge? When does the sentence start? Is the computer? I assume the computer is always listening, and then if Picard says like bridge to engineering or whatever, it records all of that and then pipes it through, but not in real time. I don't know. There's a lot of inconsistencies about when the comm badge tapping happens.
I would do a joke sin in this one. I would sin myself, but then I would try to sin the show for making it, because I don't want it to be my fault. I want it to be the show's fault, which is part of the fun of writing for CinemaSins, which is even if you end up doing something, there's a way to write it where it's the show's fault, just to kind of joke around.
For sure.
So what I would try to sin is me not catching on about McDuff being there, because I didn't see that happening. And we were in the debrief when they're all kind of around for the very first time. And I sort of like, you know how when you're watching shows that you're familiar with, you kind of can space out just a little bit. I kind of just like, I started thinking about something else. I don't remember what it was. It could have been the chocolate that I was eating. I'm not sure. And the debrief is happening, and it's, the, forgive me audience, I don't mean this in a negative way, the Star Trek mumbo jumbo stuff, where it's just like describing.
Shut your mouth. Space is fire.
Evasive maneuver, shields up, oh god. And so there was this moment, I really wish you could have been in my head when it happened, where McDuff is, I think he's describing that Starfleet is at war with the Elysians. And I heard that and I was like, well, did I just hear that? And then he starts talking about this tactical thing. I'm like, hold on a second. What's going on here?
Wait, who are you?
It took me that long, and I still didn't realize McDuff wasn't an actual person on the ship until he was in actually, I didn't even know he was fully an alien, and he wasn't supposed to be there until you told me when the show started, because I thought he possessed someone. I thought McDuff was an actual person, because that's
they just
how
fucking murdered him.
He just
murdered him at the end.
He's in a people skin, But they didn't kill him. They stunned him, right? Or did they kill him?
No, he did. He's
super dead. Okay.
Worf goes for a fucking headshot. It's if you replay it,
I thought he was being stunned.
Well, Riker shoots him to begin with, and that's probably a stun.
Yeah.
Worf then comes in with a headshot, and it's just constant beam on the head. It's just, you're getting vaporized, my friend.
So I would just try to cleverly write this sin if I was going to, write this episode, to where it's like the show has done too good of a job making the
it really did.
Around the table conversation about the debrief they've done too good of job of training me to sort of not pay attention that I missed the part where we went to war.
Wait, what? When did this happen?
It would take a little bit of writing, but I would try to figure that out.
If you pick this episode at random, like when it's in syndication and it just pops up, you may well think, oh, maybe I've missed an arc where they are at war. But
yes, I know.
It could absolutely happen.
But then was just talking about like our mission is to sneak in and blow some shit up. I'm like, no, that's not right.
Yeah.
So I know enough about I know enough about my TNG
wouldn't be doing that.
That would not be it. Yeah.
I love the idea. What if they're on the wrong side here? So what if in this allegory the Lysians are the Borg and the Sutterans are the Federation, and they've just found a great weapon to end the war? What if like they didn't blow up the bad guys? I know they can never. That's part of the moral debate. They never can make
part
that
of the
choice.
Moral debate,
but
yeah.
I kind of like the idea that the Lysians might be the bad guys.
But the idea that the Federation has been invited / not really invited, they've been forced into the conflict, and then we just leave it at the end of the episode. It just seems so sinful to me that there's not like an ellipsis at the end of this where the narration from Picard is, this is still ongoing, and we hope that whatever conversations are going to be helpful in the future, like something that gives
something
us,
like that.
Yeah.
Do you know and this is why I'm so excited to do Lower Decks, so the premise of Lower Decks is that they are second contact specialists. So the snazzy ships like the Enterprise will go in and do first contact, and then their ship does the cleanup stuff.
Oh, dear.
there are episodes where they revisit planets from actual episodes.
I want this one.
And they're like, look, we're really sorry about what happened. What can we do to help? And they're the cleanup guys.
And
this would be perfect for them to go and do this.
It's super perfect, yeah.
You'll love Lower Decks. You'll love it so much.
Another one of my predictions that I had, which could probably be, like jump off of a sin too, is I thought for a brief moment that McDuff, I can't say his name nicely.
McDuff.
He wasn't making eye contact with Picard when Picard was talking to him about his like moral conundrum. Remember like when Picard is like
in the
holding on to this crystal, like he's like spinning it around. Yeah, like McDuff never looks him in the eye. And I kept watching that scene and I was thinking that Picard was on to him a little bit and baiting him. Like saying, because he was saying, I need proof. That
would be cool.
So I was kind of hoping that like the next scene was going to be suddenly there is proof. And that was going to give Picard a little bit more of a insight, but instead, it was all down to the last scene.
The last second. It's insanely uncomfortably close to the wire.
Yeah.
Well, I don't have anything else because I really love this episode. And the biggest sins are absolutely Deanna winning chess and the aliens being OP in all of the wrong ways. Did you have anything else?
No, I did. There was a couple other things I thought of while we were talking that are good things. So I'll do the very naughty ambassador thing and throw them in here. This just challenges you to listen to the entire episode, by the way.
Yes, and pay attention and make notes. If anybody wants to recut this into how it should be, please
good luck.
Email me at Captain's Pod.
There was this exterior shot of the ship where Captain Picard is like looking through the window and we see the exterior shot of the ship, and I always thought that was really fun when they do that because they don't get to see that very often.
There's some great glory shots of the Enterprise in this.
Yeah, I thought so too. And then again, I just thought that they did a really good job of story building in this one. Like to show Worf as a potential captain who wants to have this tendency for war, and then you have the Picard being kind of geared more towards diplomacy, and it could have been Worf. The sin for me, I guess, would be that Worf should have been in the captain's seat the whole time. How fun would that episode have been to have the conundrum at the end and to actually leave it into Worf's hand where he had listened to Captain Picard as that lower ranking officer, and
show the character growth.
Yeah, but even though they did solve that problem early on, I still thought that they did a good job of showing all these different winks and nods to the character development. But I would absolutely sin that Worf wasn't in the captain's chair longer.
Always. Captain Worf should always happen. That's amazing. I love this episode. It's a great classic one. It's one of the most faulty bad guy plots ever. But yeah, it's a go-to for me. I really enjoy it. So next week we're going to be doing another episode of TNG with a special guest. And next week's episode, if you want to watch it ahead of time, is going to be The Survivors. I'm not going to tell you anything more other than it's a hauntingly interesting episode. You're going to be pretty fucked up with one part of it, I think. That's my prediction. But yeah, that's all for this week. Thanks for listening, everybody. Come and have a chat to us on Twitter at CaptainsPodCS. Let us know if there's any episodes that you want us to give the Sinterprise treatment to. You can email us captainspod@cinemasins.com. And if you want to talk to the ambassador, it's at Deneé Says.
DENEESAYS is how you spell my name.
Because she's complicated.
I am. I'm sorry.
Sorry. Thanks for listening, everyone. I'm Ian Whittington, and I too am decorated.
Oh my god. And it's if you're confused tomorrow, you know where my office is from me.
Oh, snap. Yeah, Riker will not be living long and Podsper.
Yes, he will. They love each other.
Thanks for listening. Want to connect with the show? Our hailing frequencies are always open through captainspod@cinemasins.com. Like, comment, and subscribe on your podcast player of choice, and be sure to visit cinemasins.com.
So I started watching the wrong episode.
Yeah, you did.
And then
what was the first clue? The first clue?
I didn't know what to... I never know what these episodes are, so how was I supposed to know? I just kept thinking, this is a pretty boring episode. This is a pretty boring episode. Nothing is happening.
So for reference, Deneé was what...
Hold on. And then I went to the bathroom, so I paused it for a second, and I just, it popped up on the screen, the episode title and the episode name, and I was like, wait, that doesn't seem right. And then I had to, double check and ask you, I think I'm watching the wrong episode. And I was.
The episode that Deneé was watching was Lower Decks, and the vast majority... It's a good episode, but the vast majority of it is with the Lower Decks crew. It's with a different... It's with an ensign and a lieutenant, and they're scrubbing plasma relays and whatnot. Now, the ending of that episode is fantastic.
Well, I'll get to it eventually, but
You'll get to it eventually.
Here
but
are
it's
my
not
notes.
what we were planning on watching.
Here's my notes so far that no longer matter at all.
Yeah.
The sin here is obviously talking about evaluations and promotions in 10 Forward because Ben cannot help himself. Ben was the
barman.
He was the barman. And you remember that? And you didn't even want Jesus.
It's TNG, come on.
Good God.
He's the guy that's he tells, I don't know if you got to this part yet, but he tells the officer that Riker is from Alaska. No, he's from Canada, and he goes to bond with Riker and says, hey, I've got an uncle that lives in Alaska, and Riker's just in Canada, and Riker's like, cool story, and then he's like, no, I just heard that you were born in Canada, and he went, nope, born in Alaska, and he just walks away, and he's like, oh no, it's so awkward.
This one also had an interesting thing where they started the next, after the commercial break, they started in a crisis because there was a simulation that they're running everybody through simulation stuff, which was kind of interesting to watch. I like being able to see the drills and the crew rivalry and all that stuff, which makes sense if this one is about crew rivalry, which this is not the one that I'm supposed to.
No, it is not. It is not. You meant so I knew. Well, I didn't know, but I thought this is weird because Deneé starts going ba, 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 and starts so I love this music so much, and I'm still watching, and I'm like, how are you ahead of it? And she was ahead of me by
minutes,
the minutes, because the opening credits happen after 90 seconds on that episode. I didn't figure it out, and I was like, why isn't she more flummoxed by what's going on? Because the mystery happens pretty early on in Conundrum. So yeah, that was fun. It's good stuff.
You want to hear the rest of my notes? They're not very many because I didn't get super far in.
Let's do it.
In the episode of Lower Decks, which is interesting in its own way, not Tuvok, but Vark or something. There's a different person.
Oh shit!
But it's really close to Tuvok, but it's not.
Yeah. Stop saying words.
Tuvok.
Stop saying words. Stop it.
Tuvok.
Turek? Torek? No, not Torek.
Torek, maybe? We can look it up. But anyhow, he is...
I don't want to look it up. I want to remember. I'm looking it up. Torek. It's Torek. I was right. Yeah.
Like the lens, like the toric lens.
Okay.
So he is Vulcan
Yeah, he's a Vulcan.
and more serious and such.
Yeah, super duper
And
serious.
he's with Geordi,
Mm-hmm.
and he's talking about how the simulation he ran increased warp by 7%, which seems like a huge deal. That's a lot.
Efficiency. I think it's warp efficiency.
I don't know what that means, but
It's
that's
like how much heat it
7%
loses.
is a big
That's a lot.
fucking number.
Yeah, that's a big deal.
So I was kind of really focused on that, thinking like, this is a really big deal, and Geordi's just like, meh.
Because I think Torek didn't ask permission or
No.
something, and
No, he was very presumptive.
yeah, and Geordi's just like, it's my fucking engine. Like, stop it. It's like when somebody comes in and does your job better than you, and you're like, simmer down, lad.
Also, I was really like distracted because Torek's uniform zipped up in the middle.
Oh, it's so annoying, and I think I know why. I think it's cheaper to do it that way.
Oh, sure.
So some of the
yeah.
extras would just have a discount version of the main uniform.
I thought it was maybe like an ensign thing, but then it shifts over to the one who's working under Beverly, and hers doesn't have a front zipper.
And she's absolutely fine. Yeah.
So I was distracted, and I would sin that because, of course, I'm making notes on what I might sin. So
Well, and the reason that she doesn't have it is because she's an extra that's in a lot of episodes. Her name is Melissa.
but of course,
Anyway,
Torek
it's
is
Melissa.
just super
But
annoying.
Torek's
And
only in that one episode, yeah. And yeah, he's annoying.
I do want to go back and finish the episode because I am curious about what's going to happen, and so eventually I will. And I also, we were talking about doing there's going to be a Lower Decks crossover for Strange New Worlds, and so the fact that I accidentaled myself into the episode called Lower Decks is interesting.
It is interesting. It also has nothing to do with Lower Decks, the animated series. It's nothing, not even closely related. Nothing to do with it. I mean, it covers that level of crew member, but it's nothing to do with those characters at all.
Well, hell.
The other problem is that this episode references an earlier episode of TNG. So we would have to watch that one first for this one to make sense.
Oh, good. Okay,
Yeah.
so even more homework.
You couldn't have picked a word. Unless you picked part 2 of a two-parter, you couldn't have been much more confused.
I'm so mad at myself, too, because we really went over the number a whole bunch. And then
Yes,
after,
we did.
Just to put it in perspective, I am, as you say in the UK, I am poorly. I'm not feeling well in general.
she's
I'm not
poorly.
doing great. So just to emphasize my inability to function on a normal level, I had to ask Ian for the number of the actual episode like 7 times.
Yeah.
Like, which one is it
happened a
again?
lot. It happened
Which
a lot.
one is it again? And I'm
And
thinking,
we still land on the wrong one.
not only that, but which one are we doing again?
Season 5, episode 14, I think.
I'm going to share my screen because I am concerned about my mental stability. I want to talk about RuPaul's Drag Race. That's what I really want to talk
You can. You have 60 seconds.
about. I'm sad that it's over. I really wanted to know who won, and now I changed my mind.
You just wanted to keep going.
I wanted to keep going forever. I'm sure the contestants don't because they're exhausted. They've been doing it for like probably 3 months in real life.
Ugh.
I don't know how long it actually takes. I'm going to guess it takes them, they probably try to do 2 episodes every week.
Mhm.
So it's probably been almost 2 months of them being completely,
It's not even.
in
They're in
this
there for like 10 days, and that's it.
oh my God. The amount of things that they do, though, is insane. And it's one of the best reality competitions I've ever seen. Is my 60 seconds over?
Yes. You did great. You did
Thank
so good. I'm so proud.
I was just confessing in my quiet confessional before the show starts
Mm-hmm.
of what I am eating today.
What are you eating today? If it's
I
a
had some
confessional, do you want to tell me?
I had cereal, but now I'm switching to
Godiva Masterpiece Milk Chocolate Caramel Lion of Belgium. Wow. That's some fancy shit.
It came in my Hello
have
Fresh.
Have you been replicating the fancy shit? Because that's expensive. Like, you're still on
I
basic
didn't-
rations.
What?
Yeah, huh?
This is season 4.
Yeah, huh?
How long until I have the good shit?
Well, you've used up a lot of your replicator credits in the first 3 seasons by doing all of the fancy stuff that you replicated. Those coffees weren't cheap. Those raspberry berets.
Those were so good.
Mm-hmm.
And I do it again, Captain. I do it again.
The Andorian Afterburner cocktail. That was expensive. I could name so many Star Trek drinks.
But like after that particular one, the expense wasn't in what was made. It was in the mess that was made afterwards because we partied hard after that.
I had to replicate an entire cleanup crew of androids just to fix the ship after the great party of the season 3 end party.
My favorite part of that was that you made them out of chocolate, so then I ate them afterwards.
Yeah. And they left this like little melty, chocolatey footprints, and I had to replicate another group of
to clean that up.
I don't think Fred's coming back after that party. I think we may have broken him.
Was he real?
Oh, no, sorry, completely. He was an android as well. That's why he was so perfect in the interview, because I androided him.
Do you mean you programmed him?
Yes, yeah, that's the one. That too. I
don't quite know what I think it's supposed to be a lion, right?
Yeah, no, it's a lion. That's why it's called a lion chocolate bar.
It does not look like a lion.
Well, turn it on its head. You've got it upside down. That's why. There we go.
Oh.
It's a lion on a shield. It's a crest.
Now it's a lion.
Otherwise, it looked like Medusa.
I was like, what the fuck? This is false advertising. This is Medusa chocolate. That's very different.
I'm really getting bugged by this thing I was going to say that I can't remember. Fuck's sake.
Okay, well then while you try to think, I'll just keep talking, which is super helpful.
No. We were talking about the episode of Lower Decks, the uniforms, the zip-up uniform. Oh, I remember! I did it! Oh my goodness! This never happens.
I just took a big bite of food, so...
I'm going to wait for you to finish, because I want you to Google something, but I need your reaction.
Okay. Okay, I'm ready.
So, TNG scant.
I'm sorry. Can you just make sure that I spell this correctly? Because...
SKANT.
Okay.
Scant.
Because if you said scat, I was going to be really fucking pissed at you.
So, second row, like 6 in.
Here?
Sorry, down. Yeah, that guy. Yep.
Uh-huh.
How awesome is that uniform?
Did we miss this guy?
Uh-huh.
Look at this guy.
How good is that?
That's amazing.
That was in only the first few episodes of TNG.
It's like a sleeper shirt.
But this was the men's. So men and women would wear this uniform. It was a multisexual uniform, and just an awesome short scant. How good is that?
I didn't even know what a scant was, to be honest with you.
It's a shirt skirt scant.
But I'm here for it.
I love it.
This is what I want to wear to a con if we're going to go to a con.
Oh, 100%. They're awesome. I'll wear one with you. I'll do it. I bet that is so comfortable. I bet that is breezy and just nice. And his little boots as well.
And I love the boots. Yeah.
Yes.
Oh, look at Uhura in it.
I know.
This is so cute. Is that Captain Picard wearing one?
No, he's in dress uniform. That's different.
How is that different?
Because it's longer and he has trousers.
So it's barely longer.
Yeah, it's a little bit long. If you took the trousers away, it would be similar. But the scant is tighter around the old thighs. It's a crime that we never saw Riker in a scant or Worf.
Oh, let me tell you something about Worf.
Oh, tell me.
So you know how you almost spoiled it for me or by showing it to me?
Mm-hmm.
Well, and then in my news feed on my phone, it knows I'm interested in Star Trek. It showed me a still image of Worf.
His face has been everywhere. There was no way you were going to avoid it.
No way I was going to avoid that. He's so perfect.
Mm-hmm.
All white.
Completely
He's got
white.
White hair and white eyebrows and white facial hair. I'm so excited for it.
He looks perfect. I'm so happy. He looks great.
Okay, but can we talk about this super short scant in the back of this? Because I love these boots. So this is my outfit.
Perfect.
Super short, just showing half of my ass cheek.
Just click on that picture a bit more.
Sure. Yeah, we can look at pictures together
Zoom
for research purposes.
Yeah. You can actually see her bottom.
I know.
There's actual. This is what I was thinking of. Yes, there is arse cheek on TV there.
That's what I'm saying.
You can see her underwear and her cheeks. The underbutt.
Her lower decks are visible.
Yeah, lower decks are on show, and it's full circle. Right, let's focus. Let's go. We've got to get a show done.
I am focusing. This is very focused. What are you talking about? Everything's great.
Close down the
what's
images.
the problem here?
Stop it.
Ian, can we play Mario Kart?
Right now, let's do it. Should we do a live recording while we play Mario Kart? Mario Kart. Do not. There are some Americanisms I will adapt to because it's just easier in my day-to-day life. Mario Kart is not one of them.
What's wrong with Mario Kart?
Because it's Mario Kart.
Is it Mario?
It's Mario.
I thought his name was Mario.
It's Mario. It's only Mario in America.
Really?
100%.
Tell me more. Okay, but
the rest of the world is Mario.
But
100%.
if you find other ones, will you tell me and I'll adapt?
Yeah. I mean, yeah, okay. What else could you adapt to?
Mario,
not Mario.
Mario Kart.
What are you doing? Why are you sounding more hick than usual?
I'm trying to understand what I'm doing here.
Mario.
Mirror?
It's not mirror.
Mirror?
Mario.
Mario.
Nope. You can use your regular voice. Mario.
It sounds like you're saying Mario.
Mario. It does not sound like I'm saying. Ma. No, you're not doing it right. You're going. Meh.
What?
Captain's Pod. Stardate 42. Shit. I haven't changed the shit.
420 shit, but
Every
not
week.
shit.
Shit.
There's no T.
Shit. I thought I had another few hours.
Shit. I have a few hours.
Captain's Pod, Stardate 428722.1. What? I haven't come up with an intro for you.
Wow. Hey, Ian, are you prepared for the show today?
It's almost like we're recording 4 hours earlier than intended.
Do you mean it ended? I really wish people could see
the glare.
the exasperated glares you give me.
If you could, like...
It only fuels me on. Oh, my God.
If you could sigh through your eyes, then that's what the look is. I'm the scat man.
What?
Skibbity-bitty-bop-bada-bop. That's my entry music.